Well, I think that Theismann certainly is going to make some plays because you don't keep a guy down that's that good this long, and I think that he'll make some plays.
Okay, Don, let's go back to our commentators.
Pruitt is down. If his left elbow hits before the ball comes out, it's not a fumble. Now watch, I think the ball starts out right now. You see, his left elbow doesn't hit until now. So I think that was a fumble. Awfully close.
Was close. 2nd and 7 for the Raiders at the Redskin 42. First play of quarter number 2. And Plunkett, after being set down for a while early in the year, came back very strong. Plunkett. And a scramble for the football again. It was Christensen who caught the ball in the beginning.
They're all standing around there trying to figure out whose ball it is. 3rd down.
Third down, Raiders
ball. Let's watch it here. I don't know that ball ever left him.
I don't think it did.
Never left his body.
He did some scrambling. So it's 3rd down and 4 at the Redskin 39. Hawkins has Hawkins and Marcus Allen as his runner. Nothing doing as Marcus Allen is bowled over by Perry Brooks. Raiders have to punt. Brooks backs up Darryl Grant. Ray Guy comes onto the scene. Perry Brooks gets great greeting on the Redskins sideline.
Perry Brooks comes in from Darryl Grant on the pass rush situation. He was in there rushing the passer, and he ran right into Marcus Allen. Said, hey, look what I got here.
Guy stands at his own 44-yard line. Nick Giaquinto back to the Redskins at their 10. Todd Christensen, by the way, the tight end, snaps the ball on punts. Almost snapped it away. Guy made one heck of a play to save that one.
I'll tell you, Ray Guy is 6'3", but he went up to about 7'3" on that. This is a heck of a play. Watch this ball take off. Now watch Ray Guy. He goes up, catches that thing with one hand. His right hand in one motion brings it right down and kicks it. That's why he was a #1 draft choice. Everyone says, who drafts a punter in the 1st round? Look at that play. Whew.
He's the oldest punter in the NFL, but still one of the very best. 42 yards on that. 7 Redskins, nothing. 2nd quarter. Joe Theismann 2 out of 10 for 18 yards. Plunkett 5 out of 8 for 26 yards. And Theismann tosses back to Riggin. And again, not much happening in the way of what the Redskins wanted to do as Mike Haynes was up with help to knock Riggins out of bounds.
We were talking to John Riggins the other night about what plays he likes best, and he says he likes those gut plays, 40 and 50 gut, where he goes inside. He said he doesn't like the sweeps anymore. He said it just takes too much energy out of me. That was a sweep. And he didn't like it. He threw the ball down.
He usually tries to turn him up the field quickly. But the Raiders didn't give him any alley. 2nd and 9 from the 21. And Warren shifts over to the tight end spot. A give to Riggins again. This time he gets out for a few. Lyle Alzado was the first Raider to hit him, but he got outside the 26.
Tell you, Matt Millen was right up in there too. There's Millen there. He's pointing. You get him. I'm going to get up here on Grimm. Watch him. Boom. He takes on Grimm right there. There's Jacoby. Alzado comes down and makes the play. That's really some contact in there. When you get Matt Millen, he weighs about 270 pounds, and he's going, boom, he's going in there against Grimm.
That's Cindy Alzado, Lyle's wife, enjoying things right now with good cause. Heisman outside Washington, and Washington tries to struggle back to his feet. Rod Martin was out there with him. That's going to be close to a first down for the Redskins.
That's one of the things the Raiders are thinking about. You know, they're thinking about, the good news is we stop Riggins, but when you do that, the bad news is the Redskins bring in Joe Washington.
Tom Flores, who never shows too much motion, gives the gum a pretty good workout.
I think when you get in a Super Bowl, you deserve to give the gum a good workout.
I think you're right. 1st and 10 Redskins, their own 30. Much lower scoring so far than anybody thought. Brown was in motion. They give to Riggins again. He tries to cut back in the middle. Is hit by Howie Long and Reggie Kinlaw.
This is an important matchup. Watch Reggie Kinlaw here. He's the nose tackle over Jeff Bostic. Now watch how quickly Kinlaw gets his hands up there. The key in the three-man line is you can't get movement on that nose tackle. You see him? He just took on that center, just pulled him off, and boom, he was right there in the middle to stop Riggins.
Early in the year, the Raiders were saying that Reggie was having some problems because he wasn't 100% physically. But lately, he's really been playing well. Theismann tries to roll out, has no place to roll. Now he's chased by Millen, and Millen takes him down. Not bad for a 270-pound guy.
Look at Matt Millen out there. He is fired up. You know, we were talking about the players relaxed. Well, this guy was ready to play the game on Wednesday. In fact, on Thursday in practice, he got in a fight with Mickey Marvin. They were telling him, calm down, we're not playing this thing until Sunday.
He was a defensive tackle in college.
Yeah, but he looks like a line. Matt Millen, great name. Get in there, come on, run at me, let's go, get in the pits.
So it'll be 3rd and 16. The Redskins operate from their own 24. Joe Washington in the backfield. That's Jim Quinto who goes in motion, and Theismann tries to roll out again. This time he's out there with room. Theismann for Brown. Nothing doing, and no contact, and no penalty, and Charlie Brown is really upset. He thought somebody hit him from behind. He thought it was Lester Hayes.
Well, Lester Hayes was man-to-man on him. That's who he turned around. Charlie Brown turned around to Lester Hayes. He said, hey, I had good coverage on that one. Let's watch this matchup. Here comes Brown, though. He's going to start out here. He's going to do a little delay. Lester didn't go for it. He stayed right with him. Lester's watching the ball. Starts to the inside. I don't know, maybe that left hand was up in here. That's what Charlie Brown's saying.
It was well hidden, but it looked like there was some contact. Greg Pruitt back for the Raiders. They're 35. Jeff Hayes to punt. This is a good kick. Stay up there a long time. Pruitt signal for the fair catch. The wind almost blew it away from him. 42-yard punt by Hayes. The Raiders will operate from their own 34. They still lead because of that block punt, 7-0. Pat Summerall, John Madden, Super Bowl 18, Tampa Stadium. They're really proud here in Tampa and the whole Tampa Bay area of their hospitality and how well they've handled their first Super Bowl. Here's Plunkett going deep for Branch. Could have him, does have him. Anthony Washington and Darrell Green were back there with him, but that's a 50-yard completion from Plunkett to Branch.
I'll tell you, Cliff Branch loves to go deep. He starts at the beginning of the game, and he says, I can get him deep, I can get him deep. This time he's in the slot here. He's the second man in. Now watch him. He's going to the post. He's going deep. The Redskins are starting off here. Here's Washington on the outside, Green on the inside. Cliff Branch just runs right by both of them. Perfect pass, right up over the inside shoulder.
1st and 10 Raiders from the Redskin 15. They already lead at 7-0. Plunkett gives to Marcus Allen. Allen gets down to about the 12. Neil Olkowitz made the stop. All-time postseason receptions. Cliff Branch is the leader and adding to that total. Another ex-Raider, Fred Biletnikoff, in the second spot.
It's kind of nice to see two whole Raiders in there. You know, Cliff Branch is an amazing guy. He's been in this league for 12 years, and he's never gotten old. You know, he still has that bounce and that look of a 22-year-old guy. I don't know how you do that.
Here's another different formation. Barnwell and Branch to the left, and Allen was split to the right. And it's Branch for a touchdown. Anthony Washington, the defender. That is Jim Plunkett's wife, and she just watched her husband complete a touchdown pass to Cliff Branch.
Cliff is still celebrating there. I'll tell you one thing, he doesn't throw that ball down. He doesn't spike it, though.
Barr's extra point is good. 65 yards they won in 3 plays. And the Raiders take a 14-0 lead. Here's the touchdown.
Let's watch it. Malcolm Barnwell is outside. He goes in motion. Now, that looked like it caused a little confusion. Anthony Washington is looking in. Now he's man-to-man on Cliff Branch. He makes the move. He just left Washington right there in his footsteps. That was a quick move he made here.
Yes, sir.
Watch Plunkett. He sees him right now. He says, I got him. Right over there and drill it in there to Cliff Branch wide open.
That's so the Raiders, with 9:14 left to play in the first half, take a 14-0 lead.
Let's watch a touchdown again. Now, here's Marcus Allen over here. Now, that brings Mark Murphy over to this side. So that means there's no help in the post. Barnwell goes in motion. He goes with him. Cliff Branch just runs a post right in here. See, now watch the weak safety, the free safety, Murphy. He'll move to his left. You see it there? The motion takes him in there. A little confusion right there. And boom, there's no help in the post. Wide open.
Pretty good scheme. There's Cliff Branch. Alvin Garrett. Back. Cliff Branch, by the way. Career 3 touchdown receptions, ties a Super Bowl record. That's Garrett at the 6. No place to go, and he goes airborne. Lands on the 20-yard line. Hit by Jeff Barnes. The Raiders drive 3 plays, 65 yards. They kept the ball a minute 34 seconds, and they lead 14-0. And that defense is swarming all over the Redskins. Washington defensive unit. Dexter Manley closest to you.
There's a big difference right there.
Theismann fakes his rush and goes down in the hands of Rod Martin. Just came swarming and swirling around the corner. Theismann had no chance.
What they did on that is they tried to bring the left guard, Russ Grimm, out. Now watch him. Martin is right up there on the top of the screen. He's coming. Now watch. Grimm tries to get out. Martin just runs right by him. Theismann doesn't have a chance. I'll tell you, that Rod Martin makes big plays in big games. Remember the last time the Raiders were in the Super Bowl? He was the MVP of the game.
Intercepted 3 passes. Joe Washington now once again has replaced Riggins. 2nd and 18 from the 12. Theismann has to throw and goes back and does. Incomplete. Jeff Barnes is playing in passing situations for Ted Hendricks. Hendricks has a muscle tear in his stomach, and it just hasn't healed all year long.
And he said he can move straight ahead and those types of things. He said he has trouble in pass coverage. So he's playing the rundowns, and then Jeff Barnes comes in and he plays the pass down. There's Ted. He said that muscle really won't heal until March. That's tough when you have to play a Super Bowl in January.
It will be tough to keep him out, at least on the running situations. It's 3rd and 18 now from the 12. 8.5 minutes left to play in the first half, and Theismann backpedals. Has to come out of the pocket. Does get rid of it. Has Alvin Garrett. It's near first down yardage. He may have it. Alvin Garrett thinks they do. He hasn't sold that to the officials yet. Yes, sir. That gets him out of a very deep hole.
Here's Alvin Garrett out here on Lester Hayes. Now, Theismann had to scramble a little to buy some time. You see Garrett stops there. Now he just slides back to the out. Theismann throws it where he has to. He brings him back a little. But you can see that he had the first down all the way right there. See that red thing there? He had the ball right in front of it. That's where the line used to be.
Right. You're right again. Monk with a fake motion move. Theismann goes outside. He has Clint Didier, but there's a flag down. That'll be a 12-yard gain, but we'll wait for the penalty.
I'll tell you, these teams are really going after it. This is... It looked like it was against George Stark, the right tackle of the Raiders, blocking on Howie Long. And usually when the guy here on this end calls it, it's usually the tackle.
That's the one he has the best view at. It is. Let's see if it was Stark.
Yeah, I think so.
74 offense, holding, still first down.
Let's take a look at it. Here's George Stark, 74. Howie Long on defense, 75. Stark beats him with a punch. He gets that right hand up there. And you see what happens. Then the left hand is in there behind, pushing a little. That was kind of close. Early it was a right hand and a little push with the left hand. It wasn't a flagrant hold.
But it was a hold. And it's 2nd and 20 from the 20. And Theismann throwing now on almost every down. Screens. That's Clint Didier. And Didier whirls back up to about the 38-yard line. Mike Davis made the stop, an 18-yard gain. They got most of it back.
Well, they're using Clint Didier, as we said earlier, more as an outside receiver today. We see the screen here. You see Theismann starts, looks to the right, comes back, pops it out there to Didier. Russ Grimm, the right guard's out, the left guard's out in front. He gets a block on Rod Martin, so Didier can get up, pick up about 8.
Clint Didier was a receiver for Neil Lomax in college. They were going to look at Lomax, and they found Didier. 2nd and 2, 38. And it's Riggins. Like he might be about a foot short of the first down. Howie Long on the bottom of the pile. Going back to that screen pass that Didier caught. Theismann did a whale of a job of selling that thing to the right side.
That's right. He looked to the right, and then he pumped to the right, then he wheeled around and threw it back out to the left. It's one of the things that Theismann said that he wants to even work more on is his ball handling.
You saw Otis Wansley check in, and you see Ted Hendricks is strolling around.
This is short yardage, so you know Ted Hendricks is going to be in there. That doesn't bother the stomach.
They give to Riggins. He gets the first down outside the 40. But barely as Reggie Kinlaw came up to meet him. Redskin fans, and there are a lot of them here, have had very little to cheer about so far. Raider defense has dominated things. But this time the Redskins have moved it out of the hole. 6.5 minutes left to play in the first half.
You know, the Raider defense is doing two things. One, on the run, they're all up there tight. They're really giving Riggins no place to run. And then on the pass, they're just covering the Redskins like a blanket.
Here's Riggins, and over the left side, he gets about 3. Mike Davis, tough, strong safety, comes up to cut him down.
You know, somewhere, I think the Redskins are going to have to start throwing some on first down. I know they want to establish Riggins, but what that is establishing is the Raider defense playing up there tight. And that's really a good time to pass.
Theismann, of course, gets the plays from the sideline by signal. And you just saw some of those signals coming into him. 2 guys signal. One of them is a dummy. Flags down. Bob Nelson came up to make the stop on John Riggins, but a penalty marker down early. It looked like Howie Long might have jumped early.
Howie Long nods his head. He said, yep, I did it. Yeah, you got me. Yeah, I did it.
You're right.
It's okay.
Howie's full grown.
75 defense in the neutral zone. Still second down.
He has those eyes of a linebacker playing defensive lineman. Let's watch Howie Long here. See, he gets a little jump. He's taking an inside move, and that's why. See, he's going to go inside on start. So he jumped in there a little and got in that neutral zone.
He's listed at 270, but I doubt that.
He'll fill out a chair.
And break one. Here's Riggins looking right and looking for a place to go, and now he does find a little bit of room and scoots into Raider territory. Bob Nelson and Mike Haynes stopped him and got him out of bounds. Not an empty seat anywhere. That's some sight from up here. 5:34 left in the first half, with the score of the Raiders 14, the Redskins nothing.
I was saying earlier, I think the Redskins are going to have to go to some throwing on first down. I wouldn't be surprised if this were the first down that they throw on.
There they go. If he has time, it's Hendricks. Hendricks just couldn't move. Ball batted in the air at the last second, intended for Brown, and now the flag goes down. It's called against Lester Hayes. I think it's safe to say that Lester doesn't like the call.
Lester even took his helmet off to argue. Looks like he may have had his hand on him a little early. You see right there, you see the left hand? That's what he called it. He called that left hand up there before the ball got there. But Joe Theismann's helping that official. Look, he's telling him what it is. And that's a hold. He said, well, okay, you got it. And when you're down 14-0, you're doing everything.
You object a lot. They're at the Raider 35, first down. Heisman backpedal, throws. That's Didier. Inside the 15, a pickup of 20. Mike Davis made the stop, but Didier gets a clutch first down catch.
Well, you know, we could tell that the Redskins were setting this up because they've had Didier outside. You see him out here? He's a tight end, but he's lining up wide. He's outside. That brings the strong safety, who usually plays inside. In this case, Mike Davis puts him out in a position he's not used to. So they're going to work on him spread out.
Excellent throw by Theismann, too. Didier was able to get his body between the ball and the defender. Theismann on first down again goes to work. Theismann scrambles to the 10 and dives at the 10. Davis was coming up to meet him.
I'll tell you, that was good coverage by the Raider defense. Joe Theismann was looking and looking. He couldn't find anything. He found a hole in the rush, and he picked up about 5 yards. But it's interesting, the last, 3 or 4 first downs, they've gone to the pass every time on first down.
Well, you remember the first meeting between the two teams. They had great success throwing on first down. They have scored successfully 74 times. And 81 cracks inside the 20 at 2nd and 5. Didier is way outside to the left. They give to Riggin. Riggin pounds to about the 8. Howie Long on the bottom of the pile.
You know, one thing you get when you start throwing on first down, that loosens that defense up a little, and then you may have a chance for Riggins to find a little hole in there. Although, look at all these guys. Watch Matt Millen. You don't think he's strong? You see 55?
Yep.
That's the old body slam, you know, like they do in wrestling. Ooh, boom! And Riggins, you know, I mean, that's a load,
yeah.
Body slam.
Here comes Millen coming out. Riggins is also out. This is the 12th play coming up in this drive. And now the Redskins have to take another timeout. That means they only have one left in the first half.
I kind of like that shot. That was 2 old-fashioned football players playing in the pitch, body slams and all. That's not bad.
14-0 Raiders. Starting to get dark in Tampa. The lights have been on since the beginning of the game. And they're very good lights. That picture you just saw furnished by the Goodyear blimp Enterprise. Redskins have used 2 timeouts because of confusion both on offense and on defense, so they only have 1 left. Joe Washington in the backfield. They go quickly. Theismann in the pocket, throws in the middle of everybody. It was intended for Washington, but he was covered by Rod Martin and Mike Davis, and covered very well, and here comes Mosley.
I think Theismann forced that one, Pat, because Washington was double covered. He's trying to run that option thing going in or out, and he was covered inside and outside, and he had nowhere to go.
Theismann came over to have a little word with Art Monk after he went out.
What was that Joe Theismann just put in his back pocket there?
I don't know.
Stuff going on out there. I think it was his elbow pad. Yeah,
Mosley will try from 24 yards out this time. And this time, Mark Mosley is successful, and the Redskins finally get on the scoreboard. It's 14-3. 3 minutes, 5 seconds left to play in the first half. Mosley hit from 24 yards out. 14-3 Raiders.
Yep. Sorry? Don, you wanted to talk about that drive there, which of course only resulted in a field goal, but the Redskins seem to have got back into the game.
Well, they got their offense going, and that was a long drive, and they converted some big situations there. They had 3rd and 18, and Theismann ran around, found an open receiver, and hit him for 18 yards and a first down. They had a penalty, 1st and 20. They overcame that with a screen pass, picked up 18 yards, and then he completed some passes. He put his tight end out wide, and they had to put a man out there to cover that wasn't used to covering outside, and they hit a pass on him. But the significant part of this was the Raiders held them to a field goal. They didn't let him get a touchdown.
Okay, now one of the other things that they were using Didier in a different kind of move, weren't they?
Right, they had him outside. They had one big play with him outside and forcing the strong safety from the Raiders out there to cover him. So I'm sure that we're going to see more of that type of strategy.
Pro Football Hall of Fame will have 4 new members. 2 of them outstanding players who now are on the coaching staff. Charlie Taylor of the Redskins, who was a wide receiver, came up as a defensive back, one of the best ever to play, and you know more about Willie Brown.
Willie Brown, you know, we talk about guys that are the best ever to play. I had Willie Brown when he was really something. I think he's probably the best cover man that ever played this game as a corner.
Jeff Hayes roots it out of the end zone in the direction of Pruitt, but the Raiders will start to operate from their own 20-yard line. There were 4 who will go in the Hall of Fame. Those 2, Willie Brown and Charlie Taylor, and Mike McCormick, who played so many good years at offensive and defensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns, and Arnie Weinmeister, who was some defensive tackle with the New York Yankees and New York Giants. Later went to Canada. 1st and 10 Raiders. Branch and Barnwell both together. Split left. Pruitt gets back to Allen. Gets away from Butts. Finally goes down in the grasp of Mark Murphy after a gain of 10.
You know, it's funny what that deep passing does for you. That really loosens up the defense, and then you can get that. Once a right tackle, right on the right of the screen there, that's Henry Lawrence. Mickey Marvin starts out there on Butts. Henry Lawrence starts out there. Here comes a little pitch to Marcus Allen, but look at the hole by the time he gets there. You know, one thing that we may see off that play later is a run pass. That same action, and Allen throws the ball.
Here's Plunkett throwing the ball, if he has time. Ball is loose. They say his arm started forward. Darrell Grant put on the pressure. That's the first sack of Plunkett.
You know, they may say that he was in the grasp of the quarterback, It's Darrell Grant right here. He's number 77. Well, see, he just starts up there. Boom, Hannah has him. There's Davis. He has him by the shoulder pad. He's holding on to him. He tries to get a takedown. He goes right by Bruce Davis and gets Plunkett. You know that Grant? Remember we talked to him the other day? And his arms are as big as a guy's legs.
Huge.
Yeah, they look like 2 legs hanging out of his shoulder pads. Look at him. See, right there, he's in the grasp of Darrell Grant down below, so the referee blew the whistle.
The Redskins had a blitz going, and Millot and Coleman were back there close to Plunkett as well. 2 minutes remaining.
This year, they scored a record 541 regular season points. That was a National Football League record. Look for them to come back and score some points.
Preceding message was sponsored by the National Football League with a big assist from John Madden. Will be 2nd and 20 from the 21. 2 minutes remaining first half. Raiders leading 14-3. Draw play to Marcus Allen. He slips down. Mark Murphy came up to make the hit. Allen got about 8.
That's one of the advantages that the Raiders have. Most teams go to 3 wide receivers on 2nd and long and 3rd and long. But by having 2 backs in the backfield and you get in 2nd and long, you still have the threat of that run. That's what they did on that play, but Allen slipped as he got outside here.
He was a fullback when he was in college and did mostly blocking. Moved to tailback his senior year, and he's still an excellent blocker. 3rd and 13. Here come the Redskins on a blitz. Plunkett steps up away from it. Gets it outside to Hawkins. And Hawkins gets a Raider first down. Anthony Washington made the tackle, but a good play by Plunkett.
Tell you, it is. You know, they talk about Plunkett and they say that he can't move, he doesn't scramble, but that type of movement that he made is the type that he can. They had a blitz on him. He just took a couple steps, bought some time, and found Hawkins there.
John, there are a lot of people who think he throws better on the move like that.
I think he throws better that way. I think if you give him a rush and you let him just stay back and pass, he's not as effective as he is right here. You see right here? The rush is all beyond him. Now he gets up. He has an open field. He finds Hawkins there and picks up a big first down.
Number 48 is Ken Coffey, who came up to help out on the tackle, and he is being administered to now. Stung him a little bit.
Now the Raiders have all 3 of their timeouts. They just took the first one, so they have 2 left. But with 1 minute and 6 seconds and 2 timeouts left, that is plenty of time.
Joe Gibbs looking on. His playoff record 6-0.
He's done a great job with this football team. He started out. He lost his first 5 games. I tell you, he didn't panic. He just stayed with it. He had confidence in his players. The players had confidence in him. And since that 0-5 start, he has a best record in the National Football League.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. Plunkett. Christensen. Raider first down. 14-yard gain. Anthony Washington, again the defender, and the Raiders go in a hurry. Branch will have it and will get out of bounds. Again, Washington was the defender. Branch comes over for the play from Flores.
I know it. I know what he's telling them, too. On the last 2 plays, Cliff Branch was wide open on anything to the outside. Anthony Washington, the right corner of the Redskins, is really playing him off and deep, and he can run anything like an out or a comeback, anything in front of him.
He got 6 on that one in front of him. Call it 7. We'll make it 2nd and 3 then. Marcus Allen open. Intended for Barnwell, but there's a penalty flag back down at the line of scrimmage, so it might not have made any difference. Perry Brooks put the heat on Plunkett.
The difference between the first down play and the second down play was that the Redskins put in their 6 defensive backs on second down. They didn't have them there on first down.
'65 offense, holding, still second down.
And Mickey Marvin matched up against Dave Butts.
65 against 65, load against load. Man against man. Mountain man against mountain man.
Second down. They need 12. It's back to Marcus Allen. He cuts upfield. Allen to the 40. Todd Liebenstein made the stop. Help from Tony McGee. It's their second call timeout. 29 seconds remaining in the first half. 14-3 Raiders leading.
Well, the Raiders need about 10 more yards to feel comfortable with a field goal attempt here. So they bought some of that on that run to Marcus Allen. Now with third down, I don't imagine they'll go for the end zone. I would imagine they would go to something where they can get in field goal range.
Raiders have one more timeout remaining. So do the Redskins.
And from right here, that would be a 57-yard field goal.
That's too much in this win. Coming up, of course, at the half, the NFL Today. We'll be sending it to them. Brent with Dick Vermeil and an analysis of the first half, and Jimmy the Greek and his thoughts about the first half. And, of course, a spectacular halftime show, as always. Here's our newly built studio at Tampa Stadium. Accommodates the NFL Today. At the 40, the Raiders break the huddle. It's the Redskin 40. Third down and 6. Branch out to the left. Plunkett looks to the right. Christensen is the intended receiver. Nothing doing as Ken Coffey was back there with him. Plunkett took a shot from Tony McGee just as he let the ball go.
Now that does surprise me that they didn't just go and try and pick up 10 or 12 yards, that they went for it in the end zone. And now, of course, the pass was incomplete, so they're going to have to punt.
Ray Guy counting the players he has present. Christensen, as I mentioned earlier, is the snapper, the long snapper. Nick Giaquinto goes back to the 10-yard line. Will he be inclined to run it from here, you think?
I'll tell you, this wouldn't be a bad place for a fake. I don't know if Ray Guy would run it, but you could also center it to the up back, Frank Hawkins.
Going for the corner. Giaquinto lets it go. It bounces and is going to be down by the Raiders at about the 12-yard line, where the Redskins will take over. First and 10 with 12 seconds remaining. One timeout remaining. Been a struggling first half for Joe Theismann. 6 out of 17 for 78 yards. The Redskins have not visited the end zone yet. 14-3 the Raiders lead. Last time they played, he had a spectacular day. 417 yards. Of course, that was a very high scoring game. This one has been dominated by the Raider defense. 12 remaining. Excuse me, John.
I'm sure they'll go in at halftime and talk about some things. And it looks like to me that one way they're going to have to loosen them up is by mixing up plays on their downs. You know, throwing more on first down, that type of thing.
Joe Washington in the backfield with Theismann. He's going to go to work for something. Goes outside, attempts a screen. Picked off by Jack Squirick. And the Raiders get another touchdown on a turnover.
Squirick's going to take that ball home. No one's going to get that one from him. The Redskins had 3 guys out here on the right. They tried to set something up and throw the screen back to the left, but it didn't fool Jack Squirick.
David Hum holding, and Chris Barr for the extra point. 21-3 Raiders. The silver and black fans are going crazy right now.
I'll tell you, that's one that I'm sure Joe Gibbs, Joe Theismann wished that they had back. They only had 20 seconds. They could have run the clock out, but they decided to go for this. Now watch, here's the 3 Redskins out here. So they want them to make them think that they're going here. Theismann comes back, throws the screen out to this side. Squirick comes in, picks it off right here, and takes it in the end zone. You see, they're trying to make them think they're throwing out here. Now watch here, Squirick comes out. He sees it right now. See if we can stop it right now. You see, he read it right there. Watch out, he gets there, boom, in the end zone.
Watch Matt Millen on the sideline watching that interception by Squirick.
He's picking up Charlie Sumner. He's the defensive coach. Charlie, Matt Millen was telling him, hey, that was a good substitution. You put in Squirick and took me out.
Joe Gibbs. He can't be too happy about that decision. 7 seconds remaining first half. That was officially a 5-yard touchdown on the interception by Squirick. The ball blew off the tee just before Barr got there. Looked like he almost missed it.
I think he started to kick it and saw it was going down, and he just lifted his leg up.
Block punt, touchdown, Raiders. Interception, touchdown, Raiders. They lead 21-3. The other one came on a strike from Plunkett to Branch. Ball again blows off the tee.
I think now they'll probably have someone come in and hold it.
Calvin.
Usually, after the second time that happens, you have a holder.
Calvin Muhammad comes in.
Don't put too much pressure on it. Just don't let it blow off.
Bounces it up the middle, where it's picked up by Darryl Grant, I believe, who likes to play on the special teams, and there he still goes. It's a runaway truck. Let's put him back in there again.
See, the last guy that hit him was Chris Barr. Grant fell right on Chris Barr. Let's look at it one more time. You see, Squirick read that all the way. He was in there for pass defense. He had that back out of the backfield. He saw the screen develop, started to run over there. Boom, just picked it right out of the air.
And so turnovers, something that the Redskins don't do much of, or didn't during the regular season, has happened to them in Super Bowl XVIII, and the Raiders have taken advantage. They lead 21-3 as the 2 squads head in to the locker room.